Thousands of ultra-Orthodox demonstrators flooded the area outside Israel's Beit Lid military prison on Wednesday, transforming the facility into the center of one of the country's biggest anti-conscription protests as tensions over mandatory military service reached a new flashpoint. With fears mounting that protesters could attempt to storm the base where draft debaters are being held, the Israel Defense Forces rushed in additional security, deployed military police personnel, and placed nearby troops on standby, underscoring the seriousness of the situation. The dramatic standoff unfolded against the backdrop of Israel's deepening military manpower crisis and an increasingly bitter dispute over the enlistment of Haredi men. According to Israeli media, the demonstration was organized in solidarity with an ultra-Orthodox draft debater imprisoned at the Nave Sedek military prison inside the Beit Lid base. The protest drew thousands of followers from the Gur Hasidic dynasty, the largest Hasidic sect in Israel, after its spiritual leader, Rabbi Yaakov Arya Alter, called on supporters to gather during his visit to the detained student. United Torah Eugenism chairman Yitzhak Goldknopf also joined the rally, where he was seen leading prayers and reciting psalms before the massive crowd. Religious leaders insisted the gathering was intended to be peaceful. Rabbi Chaim Denderowitz, head of the Imri Emet Yeshiva, told demonstrators they had assembled with prayers, not violence, arguing that Torah scholars were being unfairly branded as draft dodgers. He accused authorities for targeting religious students while ignoring other societal problems, and controversially compared the arrests of yeshiva students to the persecution of religious believers under the communist regimes of Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashimni, Hawashai, Bahashim, Kawadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that ruled well. Peace and salutations to all the Akim out in the four corners, teaching truth and sincerity. This is Tashar Kwal Mouth of the GMS Dallas Camp, coming at you with a quick lesson. Lord's willingness is edifying unto the hopeful elect. You know, the times that we are seeing, all right, these are some beautiful times, all right? And Yahweh Shemiah Shai has allowed us to live through, the fall of our enemies, all right? It started over there in Small Hatville, the tiny top capital of the world, Israel, and now it's going to come over here to the shores of America. And whenever they started rounding up, all these people, especially you tribes, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans of Negroid descent, to go over there and fight for the wars that Israel has started. Okay, so I'm gonna try not to make this long. I'm gonna hit a couple points, because this is something that we have read of before. This is something that the prophets have seen before. All right, I want to start here in the Sirach, chapter 25, verse 7. It says, there be nine things, there be nine things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemies. All right. So we are living in this time where we are beginning to see the fall of Esau Edom. We see the cracks, of his kingdom, and how it's starting to swell. Okay. I believe there's another one, Matthew chapter 13. It's Matthew chapter 13, verse 17. Because this place is done. All right. It says, and this is in red, so this is Yahweh Shai. All right. This is Matthew chapter 13, verse 17. It says, for verily I say unto you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those. Salakia. It says, "For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them." All right, and to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them. All right, because the nation of Israel, who so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans of Negroid descent, all right, we have been in this period of time where we have gone from mountain to hill. We have desired rest, all right, and we have not found it, all right. And it says that multiple places in the scriptures, and with that, since Jake has desired that and has not found it, the reason why is because Esau Edom has always been in the midst, and causing uproars and divisions, and throwing us into captivity, and putting holy hell on the backs of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans of Negro descent. But now the pendulum has switched. All right, Yahweh Shemiel Shai is starting to reveal how all this hell is going to come upon them. All right, and this must be, all right. But this is the most beautiful time that we're in, because the prophecies are popping. I'm gonna go to this Nahum chapter 3. I'm gonna start from the top, because this is what America exemplifies. This is how you can see America, or you so-called or this place being so-called Babylon the Great. This place being Babylon the Great, so-called America, in the scriptures. All right, so this is Nahum chapter 3 verse 1. It says, "Woe to the bloody city, it is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not." All right, look at Babylon the Great. Does it not mirror that? Does it not showing is it not showing itself to be a liar and a thief? All right, hell, they stole you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, and brought them over here to the shores of America to serve out captivity. All right, even though it was the Most High's plan, because the Most High used Esau to be the whipping stick. All right, but whenever they had an end, at all their getting, Esau didn't stop. He didn't pull back his hand. He kept going. Okay. And since Esau kept going, all right, and started to he broke the brotherly covenant. He's been putting forth all his strength to come up against you blacks, Latinos, Native Americans of Negroid descent, and to hold you down, all right, to where you are the permanent bottom class. Okay, but I'll read verse 2. It says, the noise of a whip, and the noise of the rattling wheel, and the prancing horses, and of the jumping chariots. So all that made this place great, and that whip was to keep Jake in line. Okay, everything else was exemplified by his military, as we're going to read in verse 3. Verse 3, it says, "The horsemen lift up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain." Okay, because they have gone through the world killing, maiming, and destroying everything that they see. All right, but that's part of his blessing. All right, his blessing was the sword. What does the sword do? A sword kills. A, a sword divides. All right, but continuing on, it says, and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their carcasses. They stumble upon their carcasses, because Esau has went around and played judge, jury, and executioner to the world. All right, but now it's falling upon themselves. It's turning around, and calling out by Shemiah Shai that we get to see it so. All right, because it's coming upon his own people. Okay, I'm going to continue going. All right, because there's so much meat in here. It says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well favored harlot, the mystery, Salakia, the mistress of witchcraft, all right, that selleth nations through her whoredom and families through her witchcraft. Okay, so in light of this, you know, we see the whoredoms that is being done, upon this planet. How he's orchestrating people to be sold, across the globe. These child trafficking, human trafficking. That's all Esau's doing. He has his hands in that. Okay, and then the witchcraft, the pharmaceuticals, that's being sold, shipped, used. Fentanyl is now has overtaken heroin as being one of the most prominently used drugs. But not to give that its shine, but all that is from Esau Edom's manufacturing in their labs. Okay, they are trying to get to a drug to where it can keep you docile but still willing to work at the same time. That's all Esau Edom. It's all Esau Edom. But this is going to come to an end because Yahweh Shimei Shai has a controversy with this man. All right, he has a controversy with men that are in these high positions that are used to put hurt and pain on the bottom class. Because who are the bottom class? In history, all right, it's always been the Israelites. All right, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and Negro descent. There are Israelites right now in every country on this earth, and they are all going through the same captivity. All right, they're all going through the same hell. All right, and this happened because we transgressed the law, such as commandments of Yahweh by Shemiah Shai. We chose not to follow his ways. All right, and since we did that, all right, this is the punishment that comes with it. Okay, but this is what Yahweh by Shemiah Shai is going to do to Babylon the Great, just like he did to Assyria, just like he did to Babylon, the first Babylon that came up, all right, and just like he did to Nineveh. Everybody that has transgressed the law, such as commandments of Yahweh by Shemiah Shai, has met the same result. Okay, verse 5, it says, "Behold," and this is Yahweh by Shemiah Shai says, "Behold, I am against thee, saith Yahweh by Shemiah Shai of hosts." And that host means armies. Okay, it says, "And I will discover thy skirt upon thy face." It says, "And I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdom thy shame." Because Yahweh by Shemiah Shai is against people that try to enact this rulership or this form of judgment. Okay, but and all that to say, because Yahweh Shemi Shai is for his people. All right, he is for his people, so he doesn't want to see the uh, breaking down of his people. We had our time to be on the bottom, okay, but now Yahweh Shemi Shai is about to change that pendulum. All right, now we're about to be on top, reigning with Yahweh Shemi Shai in the kingdom. All right, and that consists of you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans of Negroid descent. Okay, everybody that has been on the bottom in this life is going to reign forevermore in the kingdom. Okay. Um, Verse 6, it says, I will cast abominations, filth, Salakia, I will cast abominable filth upon thee and make thee vile and will set thee as a gazing stock. So that's what's transpiring. All right, all this shit in Israel about them, complaining about the draft and all that, because they really wanted these red-blooded Americans to go out and fight their wars. All right, but now it is not going to be so. Okay, they have to go out there and fight too. Okay, because if you can see the map of the scope of countries that are against Israel and everything that they're pushing to become a higher country, a higher echelon country. Okay, they have the whole world against them except for America. Okay, and all that must be all the moves that they're making, which is dreadful to all the people round about them. All right, all right. I'll continue reading. It says in verse 7, it says, and it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee and say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? Whence shall I seek comfort for thee? Okay, so Nineveh, Assyria, Babylon, all these are kingdoms that lifted themselves up above Yahweh Shemi Shai. They thought they were better than he. All right. And now look at them now. Okay. Because right now, as you can tell, all of those countries lumped together makes up Babylon the Great, aka America. All right. Because they think that they will never be brought down. What's that? Obadiah, who shall bring me down to the grave? Their pride has puffed them up to that point, and now it's time for Yahweh Shemi Shai to come from that fourth dimension, all right, and put everybody to heel, okay, because everybody has transgressed the law, such commandments of Yahweh Shemi Shai, okay, except for the elect. The elect is the only group that has decided to turn back and to beg Yahweh Shemi Shai, for forgiveness, all right, and in that act alone, since you realize who your power was, the Most High will turn again your captivity and make you great upon the planet Earth. And again, that goes out to you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans of Negroid descent. Okay, so since that is being one of the talking points in this lesson, you should really consider in your mind, man, should I need to stop doing what I'm doing and seek out Yahweh Shemi Shai with all the vigor that I have. Okay, and that makes me think of that Baruch chapter 4 verse 28. And I'll close it out. This is Baruch chapter 4, verse 28. It says, "For as it was your mind to go astray from Yahweh by Shemi Shai, so being returned, seek him 10 times more." Okay, so being returned, being rethought, rethink, repent. You have to repent to turn back to Yahweh by Shemi Shai. All right, seek him 10 times more. That means every time that you can give praises, honor, and glory unto him, you should do so. Okay, because it's by him that we come out of this society. It's by him that we get to see the downfall of our enemies. It's by him, that we are even still breathing. All right. So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh by Hashemi, Hawashai, by Hashemi Kwakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and salutations to all the Akim out on the four corners, teaching truth and sincerity. Shalom and shalom.